Hello to all my VIPs here in the Zoom. Thank you so much for being on today, everybody. Really appreciate you. I'm so excited to get started today. And let's get my screen shared so we can get right into it, because today is day 5. Let's get a round of applause for day 5. What's up, everybody? Come on, let me know where you're coming in from. Let me know you're still just as excited on day 5 as you were on day 1, and that you're making progress along your path to getting your mastermind client. And if you haven't already, woo, 111, yay, day 5, woohoo, day 5. Okay, cool. Oh, what's that other one that they do, the DJs? Okay, cool. We're good. All right, everybody. Day 5 is about selling and running your sustainable world-class masterminds. So let's get right into it. Today, you're going to be talking to people and getting clear on your agenda. We're also going to learn how to run a mastermind. We're going to give you solid step-by-step instructions on how to run hot seats. And we've already done one of the exercises I really love, the 7 levels deep, which you can use in your mastermind as well, as long as you give the proper credits to Mr. Dean Graziosi, who taught it to me. I'd be happy for that. And there's so much you can do. I mean, let me just share a couple quick stories. I think this is so undervalued as a medium. You know, when I was first joining masterminds, I joined one by Neil Strauss, and it was a men's mastermind. It's called the Society International. I joined in 2011. I stayed for 3 years until the intensive started to cycle again. And I got to meet some of the most incredible people I'd ever met. I'm still friends with many of them to this day. And one of the things that stuck out to me was the intensive experiences that gave me such incredible insights into who I was at the time and who I wanted to become in my life. And as a 24, 25, 26-year-old kid, you know, it's amazing to be able to be around people who are much further along and have them treat you as a peer, and also get to learn and grow in their midst. It was really, really cool thing. So one story was, we got to do an intensive where we got to be Jason Bourne for a weekend. So we got to learn how to break out of zip ties, break out of handcuffs, hotwire a car, learn parkour, how to escape evasion. They put us in a van. Now, this isn't everybody's cup of tea, but I just want you to understand what a mastermind can be. They put us in a van, they hooded and handcuffed us like we were, you know, being kidnapped, drove us around Los Angeles, and then we had to escape from the van. We got waterboarders, a whole bunch of things. It's just crazy stuff. We had to escape from the van, find our bug out bag and our, like, you know, drop where we had all our costumes and everything, and then escape and evade detection across the whole city of Los Angeles. It's pretty wild. And like learn how to, you know, get stashes of stuff that they had left behind, and break into like safe houses, and just really cool stuff. So, you know, you can make a mastermind whatever you want. On another trip, we went to Peru. We hiked the Inca Trail and did jungle survival training. I almost died like 3 times on that trip. So for me, at that age and that level of play, like that was a really cool experience that I'm never going to forget. Like most people have never done desert training, survival training, jungle training, you know, and learned how to be essentially a, you know, a superhero and do great things, as I always say, in their life. And with a mastermind, you can create these types of experiences. Another time we took 10 people to Bali. We had it as be, do, give, right? So for 3 days, we did all kinds of personal development work. And for 3 days, we did do, which was masterminding and getting clear on what was going to be done next and keeping accountable to that. And then finally, on the last few days, we did a give back to the community. And we were really excited to do that. So I think you can put this together any way you want, but making it a canvas that you can paint your dream onto and the dreams of your clients makes this so much cooler, right? It's great to have hot seats. It's great to have exercises. It's great to have workshops, but, you know, getting out of your box, getting out of your preconceived notions of what a mastermind could be, getting some travel in, and really making sure that people have an opportunity to experience life to its fullest. You know, one time we raced cars, like that wasn't even in that mastermind. Another time we did skydiving. You could do both indoor and outdoor. You know, as long as people sign the waivers, why not, right? Give them a great experience. There goes my dog. Hi, Jeannie. Okay, so I just want to share a couple of stories so that you don't get bogged down in like a mastermind has to be this one thing. It can be a lot of different things, and a lot of those things can fall under the umbrella of masterminds. So you should have booked or perhaps even done a couple MR calls. I saw some people in the group. I want to give them a shout out for taking action. Some people even got deposits down. Some people are already getting clients. This is really great because we wanted to take these 5 days and just really focus on this one thing, which is getting your first mastermind client. And once you've done it once, all the nerves and fear and trepidation and will they, won't they, it all kind of goes away. Because if you're making an irresistible offer, which we taught you how to do in the last few days, you will have clients. And you don't need this, you know, crazy long build up, you can do it in a few days. And now it's just a matter of rinsing and repeating. And obviously there's more you can do and there's more strategies you can employ. But as long as you see it's possible, as long as you see that it's possible that somebody can start from basically nothing and have a client at the end of 5 days, what else could you do in your life that you may have never done before? So that's the whole point of a challenge, is to get you uncomfortable and to get you results as quickly as possible so that you can roll through it. So here we are on day 5. You should have made an offer to, maybe you've already gotten a deposit. Wherever you're at is perfect. I just say commit to getting there today as quickly as possible, right? You can do it today. There's nothing holding you back except for your own perceived limitations or stories that might be, messing with you. And if you're already there, congratulations. Again, I hope you've been failing along the way. I hope you've been learning and getting outside of your comfort zone along the way. And I'm so excited to hear more of your incredible wins and case studies and testimonials. So let's get into some logistics for today. Make sure you share your progress and questions in the group. We're all helping each other here. We're all giving each other feedback. And this is where what we've been learning kind of comes together. This is where the rubber meets the road. Remember, we're taking a lot of content and condensing it for you. So if you need additional help, just reach out. We have Joel, we have John, we have Hawk in the group. All the members of Make More Marbles, Micah, are here to support you, and we can get you moving towards what's next. A lot of people, they end up working with us for 6, 7, 8 months to do this exact thing. So don't feel bad if you need extra help. Some people are ready to go and they just knock it out in a few days. Amazing. We can help them get it to the next level. Some people are like still struggling a little bit. They need a little bit of extra love. Awesome. Have a conversation with one of us or just post in the group and tag me, and we'll make sure that we follow up with you as well. Okay, so let's just talk quickly about sales, because sales is one of the least understood and most crucially important parts of your entrepreneurial journey. I don't care whether you're selling courses, books, masterminds, influencing at a high level, public speaking, whatever you do to influence and persuade people. This is something that you really need to pay attention to in your entrepreneurial career. I really say it's 2 big skills that if you're going to be great at running this type of business, you need to focus on two skills. And if you can get those 2 skills down, and maybe even a third, which is just generally entrepreneurship and systems and building a company and leading teams, that piece, like, you're going to be a double threat, if not a triple threat. I've had some friends that are triple threats. They can do these 3 things so well that they've grown their businesses from 0 to 500,000 a month in a year. It's totally possible for you. And those 3 things are high ticket sales, direct response copywriting, and being an entrepreneur, right? And that, what I kind of put under the umbrella of entrepreneurship, is being a leader, being able to lead a team, manage a team, build systems, and really build a business. And if you can do all 3 of those things, you're unstoppable. Whatever you want to build in this life will be yours. So the whole goal here is to get a little bit better every day. And sales, I would say, is the number 1 skill that unlocks everything for me. And I've been selling since, I was 20, a little bit earlier than that even. I mean, we're all selling all the time. We're selling our ideas, we're selling our opinions, our points of view, and we're being persuasive to help people to make better decisions based on the success and the stories and the different experiences that we've had that could help them too. So I know you're wondering how to do this. I know that this is something that you're probably saying, yeah, I should probably get better at this. And I've been a part of multiple sales teams. I've led sales teams. I've done 3,000 plus sales calls. I was in real estate. I was in finance. I've raised money multiple times. I've helped build companies from 0 to 75K a month in like 6 months from scratch. And sales is the key skill. Without that, I would have never been able to do any of that. And the only way you get good at it is by learning from the best and getting the reps. Learning from the best, getting the reps. So, if you decide to join us in one of our programs, we're going to really harp on sales. We're going to give you good, better, best. We're going to give you everything you're going to need, including our, what I call, scriptless selling system, which I've learned from many of my mentors and pieced together over time, which allows you to come into any sales call without feeling like you need to rely on a script, and nobody's going to feel like they're being, just run through the ringer. It's a very enrolling process, because what ends up happening is, people, especially when they get to be a little savvy, they can tell you're just reading questions off a piece of paper. But when you're coming from a place of leadership and service and integrity, and not that using a script is out of integrity, but they can just tell. They can tell you're not present because you're thinking about, what am I going to say next, versus being there with that person and steering the conversation where it needs to go next. As long as you're checking off the boxes in your brain and saying, hey, this is what's next, this is what's that, and getting them all done, you're going to get so many fewer objections. People are going to be so much more clear. They're going to be so much more excited to enroll, and it's going to feel effortless. And that's really what I want you to get to. But to start out, we have a number of programs that we can help you do that. good, better, best. We always say, start where you're at, get the training wheels on, get a script, use that to get your first few sales under your belt, get some confidence, and then begin to increase your skills from there. So the very first thing I'll teach you, and the most important thing, and we won't go crazy deep into sales right now because we have resources that you can do that with, is just to understand what their pain is now. If there's no pain, if there's no problem, there's no sale. Nobody buys anything because everything's perfect. They just don't. Buying is a behavior that follows acknowledging and understanding that there's a problem or a gap in their lives that they need to solve and that they can't solve it on their own. So understand what they want and what their pain is now. And you can use those two as kind of a, creating the gap, right? Excuse me. I hit the little, the mic here. You can use that to create the gap and let them know that you can close that gap with your offer, which is a mastermind. Ask great questions so that you can tailor your offer in real time to be exactly what they need, want, and desire. And this is something I do very well. I can easily craft an offer on the fly that's similar or dissimilar to what I already had in mind, right? I don't go into a call with any specific, need to sell my thing. I'm in love with that prospect and that client, and I want to make sure that it's customized for what they need. Because some people care about one part of an offer and other people care about an entirely different part of an offer. I should have all of them in my back pocket so I'm as prepared as possible so that I can offer them, but I'm going to focus on the 1, 2, or 3 that make the most difference for them and move the needle the most for them. And sometimes I've even added things to my offer on the fly. Like I had one client I'll never forget, came to me and he said, hey, I'm right there. I want to build a mastermind, but I just invested in the speaking thing and I got to give the speech and I'm really nervous about it. And I just want to wait until after that. I'm like, well, if you really want to do this, and what's holding you back is that you feel like you need more help on the speaking side. Well, I'm not a professional speaker, but I know great speaking coaches. I've got 2 or 3 of them. This is at the time when I wasn't working for Tony Robbins as a speaker. I got this great speaking coach. He sells $3.5 million from stage every year for Infusionsoft. Would you like to work with him? I'll buy you a session as a part of this offer. And he was blown away and he signed up on the spot because I went the extra mile, right? That went from I'm on the fence to I'm 100% in and overwhelmingly was super excited to work with me. So think about it in terms of that. What does your person need? Don't try to jam everybody into your box or your product or your service, but think like, what can I provide? Who can I connect them to? What resource, what opportunity, what system, what person can I connect them to that makes their challenge irrelevant and make sure they feel 100% taken care of? So once you've done that and you're really clear and you've made the offer and they've accepted it, then you just got to focus on really over delivering. So take notes on any promises you made, make sure that you're communicating with them what that looks like throughout the process and that they ultimately achieve that outcome. And they'll be raving fans that will give you huge testimonials and everything along that line. So if you really want to go deep down the rabbit hole, what we're doing today is we're re-offering what you saw on the way in. So a lot of you signed up, you didn't grab VIP, you didn't grab the all access pass. We've combined that into one offer and we're making it just for the next 24 hours. You're going to get a whole bunch of great stuff. You can go to this page and check it out if you like. You're going to get sales training. You're going to get our masterclass. You're going to get our offers training. You're going to get our books. You're going to get everything, our audiobook. And we're going to give you some additional bonuses that I'll talk about tomorrow. But the earlier you buy, and hear me now, the earlier you buy, the less this is going to cost you. So if you're on the fence, you're like, hey, I really want to invest with Brad. Trust me, I'll over deliver and I'll guarantee it. But you're going to want to grab this because what I'm going to be adding to this over the next few days is going to blow your freaking mind. So I'm just kind of just firing a shot across the bow here. This is not a huge pitch right now. I'm not going to go into every little thing, but if you're needing help with sales or additional pieces of this before we go forward in this presentation, I just want to give you a chance to jump in at the lowest price I'm going to offer this. And we're going to keep stacking the value for you. It's going to blow your mind. So give us like 3-4 days to like really roll out the rest of it. And you're going to be really glad that you bought now at this price because this price is only available for the next 24 hours. If we get to the masterclass, this price will no longer be available and that's it. So save yourself some money now because you're going to want this offer, I promise. All right, that's marbles.link/297. You can go ahead and grab that. It's going to include everything you get in VIP, everything you get in all access pass. And we're going to keep stacking bonuses and value that it's going to blow your socks off. I can't wait. I'm so excited. And I see people jumping in now. So this is really exciting. All right, everybody. So back onto the content. Again, marbles.link/297, marbles.link/297. If somebody could post that on the Facebook group and just let them know it's only 24 hours, that would be awesome. All right, great. All right, so here's how to run a world-class mastermind. And this is my proprietary technology that I've developed over the years called the Castle. And this is just a really fun and easy way to understand and remember what is needed in a world-class mastermind. And if you're missing one piece of this castle, it's like you have a foundation, you have the walls, you have the turrets, you have the roof, you have the, all the different pieces of a castle. If you're missing one of those pieces, pretty soon it might stay up, right? You miss one, that's not that big a deal. But pretty soon, if you're missing two, three, four of this whole castle's coming down. It's going to crumble. So the more of these elements you have at a high class, world class level, the better your mastermind is going to be. And I highly recommend that you check this out, because this is a piece that's going to like open your mind to what's wrong with other masterminds that maybe you've been a part of. I was part of a thread recently. Somebody tagged me on. They were like, knocking on masterminds because they'd obviously never been part of a great one. And I recognize that the reason they aren't great is because people have never been trained how to run a great one. And that's what I focus on, because I've been a part of 30 of these things. I've run a dozen of my own. I've started from scratch. I've done JVs. I've done, non-expert and expert ones as well. I've been the guru. I've been, the standby guy. I've been all the different things. I've filled the room. I've marketed them. I know everything there is to know for the most part about masterminds. I'm learning more all the time by working with some of the best people in the world at the subject. And some people just get it and they understand it and they've been to incredible ones and they love it. And then other people, they just don't. They don't get it. They don't understand it. They say, oh, you'd be better off just building your own little networking group or having a few close friends to network with. It's not a mastermind. And unfortunately, people are throwing the baby out with the bathwater because they don't understand what makes them great. So let's talk about what makes them great. And let's get into it. So the CASTLE stands for, it's an acronym. We love acronyms: clarity, accountability, support, trust, leverage, and engagement. And sometimes the E can be excitement as well, because we talked about earlier how a great mastermind, a world-class mastermind, can give you a transformational experience that you'll remember for the rest of your life, right? Who doesn't want to go and race cars and do hot air balloons or go skydiving? Maybe people who value safety, but for people who value adventure and variety, they're going to be all over that. They're going to be really excited about that. And now that the world is going to maybe hopefully start up again next year, that's going to work. Or you can pre-sell these experiences as part of your mastermind, as well as the in-person component before this year's over, and then deliver them at a point in the future. So again, let me just say that. So you can sell it now and deliver it later. And as long as you are in integrity and clearly communicating that, hey, you're going to pay for this now and get it later, you can increase your revenue now and then get more profit later, because you can pre-set the pricing on all of your experiences. So hear me now. So there's a lot of vendors out there now that want to do cool stuff and they need groups of people, but they can't do it because of COVID for various different reasons, right? So you can go out and find these experiences and negotiate with these people and put down a deposit for a very substantially lower rate and negotiate a very much lower rate, and then deliver on it in the future with the money that you have now for the people that enrolled in your mastermind. I can hear your wheels turning now. This is a game changer for most people. They don't recognize that they can negotiate and make deals based on that. Hell, you might be having your mastermind in a castle by the time this is all over. And wouldn't that be pretty cool? I know Dan Pena does it. Why not you, right? Okay, cool. So 6 things: clarity, accountability, support, trust, leverage, and engagement. Engagement could also be excitement. And let's start with clarity. So clarity is the key first step. We're going to teach you a tool to get clarity. It's called the hot seat tool. And this should be for every single one of your members. And clarity is like the number one thing. If you don't get clarity, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. This is the first thing. You don't want to move forward to do anything else before they have total clarity. So, sorry, let me go back here. I didn't realize we were going to that. Okay. So let me just speak on clarity just for a moment here. If you've seen my book, if you've seen any of the other presentations I've done on this over the years, you're going to probably recognize that the whole purpose of a mastermind is to solve problems, but we can't solve a problem until we're 100% crystal clear on what the problem actually is. Have you ever met somebody who kind of heard what was going on with you and then immediately jumped into coaching mode without asking any questions and totally missed the point of what you were saying? That sucks. We don't want that for anybody in your mastermind. We want instead for people to share what's going on, their version of what's going on, concisely and clearly. Then for the group and for the facilitator to ask great questions until they're so clear that maybe the problem's already solved or half solved at that point. And then it's simple, consistent actions are all that's needed to clean up the rest. Because clarity, a problem well understood, is half solved. So this is like, I can't harp on this enough. It sounds simple, but the nuances of it are far reaching and immeasurable. So let's just be clear on that. Okay. And then accountability or action plan. So this is how I do it. I do it super low tech. Literally every week we have a mastermind call in my BAM fam, and I just have them, commit to what they're going to do in the next week. And then I keep them accountable. And then if it's green, it means they did it. If it's red, it means they made zero progress on it whatsoever. And that happens, life happens. And if it's yellow, they kind of got halfway there. So very quickly, I can look through this and see, you know, did they reach their goals or not? Are they reaching their goals consistently or not? And do I need to intervene individually with this person to make sure that they get back on track? Right. And my number one rule with clients is don't stay stuck ever. Even if you're a little stuck, even if you're a little confused, even if you're a little not sure what to do next, or you're afraid or whatever is going on, just stop, drop, and call Brad or message Brad in this case, right? Because we do the Facebook group. So by doing this, I can head off problems before they happen, right? By doing this, I can see very quickly who is getting it done and who just is not quite getting it done. And maybe it's because they're setting their sights too high, or maybe they're expecting themselves to do too much, or maybe they're prioritizing other things in their life. And maybe, they need additional support or clarity on a particular thing. But I know because I could just literally look straight down the list and see, okay, greens across the board, don't got to worry about that. But if there are reds and yellows popping up consistently, then I know I need to change something. Something needs to happen. And then I record some wins along the week. Like, Victor booked 8 clients in the first 4 weeks or whatever it was. I think it was 12 actually by the time everything was done in the first 5 or 6 weeks. So, these are really great to go back later and you have a running diary of all of your clients' success stories, of everything that they're doing consistently. And when they get to the end, you can look back and say, hey, look at all the progress you've made. Because people forget, they come in and then 6 months later, not as excited as when they first came in. This is a great thing to look back on and be like, look at how much you've actually accomplished throughout this. Because people's emotional states, it can change like the weather. But if you have an anchor point that's clear and consistent, that can help them to see the value. And then, they ultimately end up referring more. They end up testimonials, giving great testimonials, and achieving their goals, which is the most important thing. I don't care if they give me credit for it or not, but nobody can deny that if they achieved what they came to go for, then they've at least delivered, and hopefully over-delivered at that point too. All right. So give them multiple ways to achieve the outcome. Make SMART goals. You guys are familiar with SMART goals. I don't have to rehash all that. If you're not sure about it, just Google it at some point. It's just, I think it's specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-based. And I would even argue with the realistic part is not that important, right? Even the biggest, hairiest, scariest goals and the craziest things you've ever heard of have been accomplished by somebody somewhere, and you could probably figure out how to do it too. And even stuff nobody's ever done before, it doesn't make it impossible. It just makes it, you have to change your approach. Nobody's ever done it before. Oh man, I have to do it differently, right? Like Elon Musk, for example, or Richard Branson, or somebody like that. You have to look at what they do to go after an impossible goal. All right. So support is another one. What are the connections, the resources, the opportunities? Mind you, it's not me coaching them. This is not a group coaching program for the most part. I'll give them advice. I'll give them support, but I don't do it just from, hey, do as I do or do as I say. I do it from the perspective of what's the connection I can make that makes this problem for them obsolete. It could be as simple as sending them a book. Here, read this book and this will solve your problem. It could be as simple as watch this video. It could be simple as, here's an opportunity I heard about from my friend that you can get set up with. Or here's my friend, and make a double opt-in intro. And that just means that you ask both parties beforehand if it's okay to make the introduction. You tell them a little bit about each other, and then they say yes, and you connect them. Or a system, maybe there's a piece of software or a tool or some way that you promote or something that you do in your business that you could easily plug in for them that would make their problem obsolete. So we'll talk about what this kind of entails. There's an acronym here and you'll get it once you see it. But for now, I just want to go through the key pieces. And this is just an example screenshot of me, helping out a client, right? This is just me, encouraging them, supporting them, making sure they have all their ducks in a row. And we ended up doing an affiliate promotion together, which is really cool. And it made sense. I can't do that with every single client because it would dilute the list to nothing. But when there's something clear and specific and actionable, I know this person has a long track record, I feel good about introducing them to my further audience, I'm happy to do that. That makes a lot of sense. We usually work out a deal to do that. So there's so many different ways you can support your clients. Trust is a huge one. All right. If you don't have trust with your mastermind members, it's pretty much game over at that point. So if I was to say any one of these is the most important, I would say clarity and trust are right there at the top. And the others are still important, obviously, but this will kill your mastermind faster than anything else. And trust, again, as we talked about, is commitments and consistency. If you are clear in your communication and you're making clear commitments and you're making agreements instead of, here's another little framework I'll give you, ABC of relationships, especially professional relationships. It's not always be closing, I promise. It's agreements, boundaries, and clear communication, crystal clear communication. If you have those three things, your relationships will crush it. They will. They'll be incredible. Agreements, not expectations. Boundaries, right? Hey, this is how things happen, and we're in agreement about that. And this is, how I protect my time and my energy, and this is how you protect your time and your energy. And we have these clear boundaries in professional work, payment structures, agreements, all these different things are part of boundaries. And then clear communication. Whenever there's an issue, resort to clear communication to solve it, and don't get emotional about it, right? That's it, right? This is how you build trust. And it comes down to commitment and consistency. A really great book on this that I ask all my clients to read, and if they haven't read it already, I send them a copy. It's The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And this is just a great primer on how to do life, really. It's a great book, generally. I actually had his son on my podcast. It was a beautiful experience. Clearly communicate things that are going great and things that need to improve. And I like to use like the criticism sandwich is what it's been called in some places, but I just look at it as like, always lead with something positive. Like the same way I do a hot seat, I always lead with gratitude because I want to dive right into what's going wrong. Like what's really going right first, and then talk about what's going wrong, and then follow up with, hey, what's going right again? Again, I believe you're doing X, Y, and Z amazing. I don't think that anything should change or improve. I have to remind myself of this consistently, by the way, because I'm a mismatcher. I'm always pointing out what's wrong and the minor details. You can ask my team if that drives them crazy or not. No, I've been doing better with it. But you got to start with something they're doing right, and then talk about what could improve. So, and then this is like the simplest thing, but people don't get it, or they wonder why people are a certain way or act a certain way towards them. Because you need to be reliable. You need to do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it, and ideally as fast as possible. Because when you make a promise to somebody, guess what? They're waiting on you to do that thing. And it may be the most important thing. Even if it doesn't seem important to you, it might be the most important thing for them right now. So if you're going to make a promise and not show up on it, that's going to kill your mastermind, period. End of story. So you just got to do what you got to do. And you'll screw up sometimes, but you got to make it right if you screw up. So what I do is I get it in my calendar, or I do it right then. So I never leave the site of making a promise without doing it right then. Like, let's say it's an introduction. I just do it right then. I just pause. Hey, make this intro. Cool. Done. A double opt-in, whatever. Move on with the conversation. Or I can't do it right now. I'm putting it in my calendar to do at my next available convenience. I look for a hole in my calendar. I put it there and I get it done. And by and large, I would say 99% of the time I get this right. Sometimes I don't. I apologize and I make it right. Cool. That's how you build trust. Yeah. And I missed this part, but I think it's really important, is like, this is how you build trust with yourself too. Like most of our trust issues, I would say when I talk to people, about 80% of it comes down to they don't trust themselves because they've made a promise to themselves that they haven't delivered on before. 15% is like, I don't trust other people because I've been screwed in the past. And like 5% is like, I don't trust the world. I don't trust God. I don't trust the universe. I don't trust, some, general global belief about trust. It's just, I can't trust life. But for the 80% of people that don't trust themselves, that's the thing that kills them the most. It kills them because they can't make decisions. It kills them because they can't follow through on commitments. It kills them because they can't, just keep their word to themselves that they're going to do the thing that they said they're going to do. And when you don't have trust and clarity and commitment with yourself, and you aren't doing those things consistently, you can't show up for other people and you can't move your life forward. So trust is just such a huge part. I can't underscore this enough. If there's something in your life that needs to be cleaned up, or if you're not keeping your word with yourself or others, or if you're just not a trustworthy person, that's the other side of it. You have to give trust to get trust. So like I have basically there's two people in the world, right? There's the person who never trusts anybody and they have to earn his trust or her trust. And then there's the person who trusts everybody until they give them a reason not to. And I would venture to say your life's going to be a lot better if you just trust people, not, being a rube or anything, but trust people until they give you a reason not to. And a reason not to could be like, you just get a weird vibe from this person. You're going to pay more attention to them. Like that's perfectly acceptable. But generally speaking, I trust people until they give me a reason not to. And I really work on the basis of trusted referrals. So like when people email me and they say, want to work for me, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Like there's just nothing there for you. I'm not hiring anybody who's not already vetted by my network. That's my rule, right? Because I know that if something had gone wrong with somebody that I know and trust, they would have told me, hey, Brad, this is what's going on with this person. So I just really have very few problems with the people I work with as a result of that, because I know that they come trusted and that they're already within the inner circle, so to speak. And that's a huge tool that you can use anytime for your mastermind as well. Is like work with people who are referrals. That's a great way to start so that you can get used to doing it. So you don't have a lot of extra issues of like personality problems and different values and things like that. All right. I've done a lot of time on that. I'm going to keep moving. So find ways to get leverage with your people. So in addition to keeping them accountable and supporting them, sometimes you just got to get leverage. Sometimes they just won't do something until they get a really strong amount of leverage on them. And I like to use Parkinson's law here, which is what gets measured gets managed, what gets reported improves, and what gets measured and reported consistently improves exponentially. So I'll just say that again. What gets measured gets managed, what gets reported improves, and what gets measured and reported consistently improves exponentially. So it's a lot of words, but really what that means is as long as people are paying attention to what they're actually doing, or you are, and they're getting reported on a consistent basis, either one of those would improve their performance, but doing both of those consistently will blow their performance out of the water. They won't miss a single thing. So that's a huge way to get leverage. And just, pardon me a sec. So that's a huge way to get leverage. And in addition to that, you can use money and social commitments to keep people accountable. So two things that move most people, and if you do both of them, it'll pretty much move everybody, is having money on the line. So that's making a bet. When I do my mastermind, sometimes I'll have people bet on an outcome. So if they do X by Y date, they'll get their money back, or it'll go to a charity that they talk about beforehand. I've had people make $3,000 or $5,000 bets on something and get it done in 24 hours, and they hadn't gotten it done in a year. That kind of stuff, right? So that moves some people. And then some people, they need to tell somebody that they would never want to disappoint that they're going to do this thing. So a lot of times that's a parent or a grandparent, and that keeps them accountable. But if you do both of these things, so reporting it publicly and putting money down, that's a game changer. This is why I don't recommend free masterminds for people who really want to get serious about this. Free masterminds are great. I run them and I think they're awesome, but people unfortunately don't get as much leverage on themselves as sometimes they need by being invested. And that's why you're doing a disservice to people when you're not charging. So that's something to consider. So there's pros and cons to both. Pro, it's a great way to build a community. It's a great way to meet people. It's a great way to get practice masterminding. But once you go pro, there's a lot of benefits to charging. Okay. So really, when you're considering leverage, what would make it really painful for them to not take action, really pleasurable to take action? And let's just sum this up here with engagement and excitement. So for me, this is engaging with each person individually. And it's not all the time. This is not a coaching relationship. But again, making sure that they're held accountable, making sure that they're showing up, making sure that there's no roadblocks, making sure they don't stay stuck if they get stuck, and making sure that they have the connections, the resources, the opportunities, the people, and the systems that they need to alleviate any problem that they're having. When you take responsibility for the outcomes of your clients and make sure they stay engaged with you, the group will get results. There's no question. You're all in this together, and you can assign each other accountability buddies, similar to what we did here, although less structured, right? This is a great tool you can use to make sure that people are getting consistent results. So I always like to tell the story of Chris and Jasmine, who during the sales training, they would actually get on phone calls and practice each other's sales calls. And they would take turns being the client and the salesperson in order to get better. And then they would also tell each other their stories that they're going to use to overcome objections and to talk about the offer again and again and again until it was so clear that they didn't have to think about it. So when the time came, when they were on these calls, they would get, they would have a much higher conversion rate, and they just filled up their masterminds in almost no time. You know, the better you practice, the better you play. So make sure that you're engaging, and then make sure that, you know, at the very least, you have some sort of activity that's memorable at a mastermind. It could be virtual, it could be in person, it could be, again, you could sell it now and deliver on it later, but some sort of activity that's going to blow their mind and make them want to talk about that forever, because they're going to forget what you did. They're going to forget the breakthrough they had. They're going to forget the accountability and how you showed up and all the commitments you made and everything you followed through on. They're never going to forget that crazy over-the-top experience they got to have. So make it an experience they'll never forget. And this is really about making people feel seen and heard, right? It's keeping up with them in the DMs, make sure they let you know, if they won't be on the calls, if something happens, if there's some personal issue. I've had people get divorced. I've had people, have to go into outpatient care or have a health issue or a kid problem, all kinds of issues that you could ever imagine. It's just having that dialogue and making sure that they know to tell you when something happens. It's not okay for them just to not show up, and following up again with these little touches like, hey, is everything okay? Are you back to normal now? Or can you get back into this? And making sure they stay on track as best as possible. And you're not responsible for their life. Life happens, and it's everybody's responsibility to make their goals happen regardless. However, that goes a long way towards, engendering loyalty and being a great leader for the long term. Okay, cool. So last thing, just urge them to write down their biggest takeaways and share those so that they're getting the point of what they need to get, and they're taking action on the things they need to take action on. So storming the castle. If you're struggling getting results for your clients, one of these 6 things is missing. And it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. So hone in on what it is, find the problem, ask questions until it's there, until you get it, own it, take responsibility for it, be grateful that you've been shown it. I got a little rhyme scheme here. Hone it, own it, shown it, and mastermind sustainable solutions so it stays fixed moving forward. And you can use any one of these strategies we've talked about today in order to do that. So again, the castle, storming the castle, huge. Hone in on what the problem is, own it, take responsibility, be grateful you've been shown it, and mastermind sustainable solutions so it stays fixed moving forward. I would be blocking out time, especially with your mastermind, to do weekly reviews and check-ins with your clients. Just have like an hour or 2 blocked aside. Just, check in with everybody. Where are you at with this? How you doing? Are you on track? Or the people that need a little extra love, maybe you got to jump on a call with them for 10 or 15 minutes. Like, make that happen. And you'll see your mastermind will get that much stronger as a result. All right. Finally, the acronym. I told you would tie it all together. So this is seeds and crops. And this is the way I basically run my life as a supporter here, as a leader of people, is that I seek in every encounter to diagnose, create space, serve, support, and solve. And really, this is a little bit out of order. First, I'm going to create the space that they need to feel seen and heard and understood as best I can, right? I hear you. I agree with you. My hallucination is X, right? And I'm going to create that space so that I can diagnose what's really going on. Because some people don't have a problem. They just need to feel heard. That can just solve it, right? And then once you've gotten clear on what the actual problem is that you can affect and that's in your control to solve, then you serve, support, and solve. So it's really like seeds with 3 S's, a little bit out of order, but it's a good acronym just to remember all these different steps. So seek in every encounter to diagnose, create space, serve, support, and solve. And then crops. This is how we fix these problems. It's not about you spending all your time. It's about connecting them to the resources, opportunities, people, and systems that they need to make any challenge that they're facing obsolete. So that's seeds and crops. And again, if you're on the live, hashtag live. If you're on the replay, hashtag replay. Let me know you got this. Huge takeaways here. Castle, seeds, all that. Awesome. Finally, the pièce de résistance, if you will. I would like to give you my favorite hot seat formula. This is what the name of the 8-Minute Mastermind book came from, is that we do these 8-minute hot seats that, sometimes they're 7, sometimes they're 12. Again, we're aiming for 8 minutes here. And it's done with this formula. This is my hot seat formula that you can use in your mastermind right now. And if you just did this, you'd have a really pretty good mastermind. Like, it would be great. Like, it won't be over the top, but it'll be pretty solid, right? You could do this every single week. We've done our free one is just this formula over and over again ad infinitum. When I do big ones that are like paid, I pull out all the stops and give people an incredible experience that they'll never forget. But I always keep this component, and I make sure they're not so big that I can't do this with every single person. Now, you're only going to probably want to do 2 hours of these at top. So that's where like the 10, 15, 25 area, like if it's more than, 15 people, you're probably going to want to start to break them out into smaller groups or do them in multiple sessions over multiple days. Because after 2 hours of this facilitating, you're going to be tired. And I'll just be real with you. So find a way to do it. When we did virtual, and there was a lot of people, we had 500 people sign up. I brought in all the people from my personal mastermind. They were all my friends who had seen me do this 1,000 times. And they came in and did breakout sessions for everybody. So everybody got the same experience, even though it wasn't with me. And this is the formula. Ready? So number 1 is, who are you and what do you do? Keep this truncated. Tell them beforehand, like, hey, you got 30 seconds for this phase, 30 seconds for this phase. Who are you? What do you do? So start thinking about this now. They could say their benefit statement if that's something you guys have worked on. They can talk about their business. They can do whatever, but keep it to 30 seconds so that it doesn't eat up all their time. Then you want to do 30 seconds of gratitude. Again, you want to start in a grateful place because we don't want to bring that energy of problems into a solution environment. We want to bring the energy of I'm grateful for my life. My life is amazing. And here's how I want to move forward faster. Here's this challenge I want to overcome. We don't even call them problems. We call them challenges. And that's about a minute to explain what that is as best they can based on what they know so far and as clearly and concisely as possible so that they're thinking about this beforehand, what they're going to share, how they're going to share it so it comes out, clearly. Then you're going to ask clarifying questions and also get them from the group. So if you're taking a leadership role, that's one thing, but generally as a facilitator, and if I'm not the guru in the mastermind, if they're not coming to learn from me specifically, I'll make sure everybody else who wants to ask a question gets to ask the questions first and see if they get to where I was going. And then if not, I add in my questions at the end and I take them down where they need to go, that rabbit hole where they need to go. Because I have a lot of experience and I can help a lot of people. And I've worked with thousands of people now at this. And, that's not everybody. So some people ask questions that are like all over the place and don't really move the person towards clarity. And some people are really sharp and they're going to get there quick and they don't need your help. So as the leader, you get to sit back and decide when you're going to interject and when you're not, but you get clear. That's the most important point. If you aren't clear, you don't move forward. I don't care if it takes the whole time to get clear because you can follow up that person afterwards and give them the solutions. It's the most important thing to do in that 8 or 10 or minutes or how long it is to get clear. Then as their time, remains, it's suggestions and declarations. So giving suggestions for what should be next, maybe next action steps when everybody's clear on what the problem actually is. These are really simple. 30 seconds, I'll introduce you to this person. You should check out this book. I worked with that company and it solved my problem, or I bought this software, it solved my problem. It could be something along those lines. And then finally, declarations. What are they saying they're going to do and by when? And how are they going to stay accountable to that? So this is the point where you could introduce some leverage. They put down money, they make a bet with us, and it's, it's that, or it's like they're saying out loud to the group that they're going to do that, or it's both, right? Because that tends to work really well because the ongoing group keeps you accountable to your progress over the long term. So if you're doing these over multiple months and years, you can see the progress that people are making on a consistent basis. And that's why you want to have the minutes, like in my spreadsheet I shared earlier, so that this is the progress people have made. And consistency and tracking is key. Again, there's a lot of ways you can run a mastermind. This is my favorite component. I feel like this piece makes it a mastermind versus everything else that isn't a mastermind or is just a get together or a Facebook group. It's like this is the piece that gives everybody an opportunity to really come forth, get clarity, and take action on what they need to take action on. All right. So let's talk about how to continue to enroll clients. We'll give you some additional marketing strategies. We're also doing a masterclass tomorrow, which I talked about, but I'll kind of go over that again. So there's really 3 things that you're going to be doing. And these are the 3 ways to get more people, more eyeballs, more qualified, interested, excited leads for your business. There's made traffic, which is organic. That means you put your time and energy and attention into it and you made it happen. There's paid traffic, which means you bought, from Facebook or from Google or from YouTube or some other traffic source. It tends to be the coldest. Made is pretty warm. Paid is pretty cold. You got to warm it up. Lent is the hottest traffic. And Lent is the piece that a lot of people miss, is they don't get referrals. That's why we harp on getting referrals. We gave you a couple of good scripts for that. So these are the 3. If you want to grow your business, you need more leads. You need more customers to work with. These are the 3 ways to get it. Made, paid, and Lent. And affiliates, of course. So most clients start with organic lead gen strategies. And since I realize that not everybody here is going to have a giant ads budget yet and spend all kinds of money like we do, 300 and some odd thousand, maybe 350,000 this year so far. I'm teaching a masterclass on November 7th at 11 a.m. Pacific, which is tomorrow at 11 a.m., same time, same place, to help you with lead gen by organic marketing. You're going to look out for that in your email. That link's going to come out this afternoon, I think about 1 o'clock, maybe in 15, 20 minutes. You're going to get that link. You're going to register. If you have already registered for the challenge, you should have gotten it automatically. But I don't want to take it for granted that the technology is going to work. It should be in your calendar already. And if you have it on your calendar, great. But make sure that you, if you don't have it by this evening, that you email us at support@makemoremarbles.com and we'll send you the link. But it should go out to the whole list and you should be already good to go. So don't hit us up until later tonight if you still haven't gotten it, because we are sending it out, I promise. All right. So that'll be tomorrow. We're going to go through 7 different post types. We're going to make sure that you have multiple different strategies you can use that have been proven. This is not theory. This is all proven. And I'm actually going to write some copy on and I kind of went back and forth on this because I want to keep it short and tight and to the point. I don't want anybody to get bored, but I'd like to write a short post live on the masterclass so that you could see how it comes together. You can see how I write. I write pretty fast though, so it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes to do that. And I think it'll be valuable just from a sense of like, wow, I can do this too. It's not super complex. I get a doc, I put it, put my head down, put on, Animals by Martin Garrix or something with no lyrics, and I fire it out. So this is gonna be super fun. And the whole point of this masterclass tomorrow at 11 is to get, from where we're at now, which is, okay, we know how to get our first mastermind client, to how do we get our first 10 to 100 mastermind clients by implementing these strategies I'm going to teach you. And these are just a few quick screenshots here. So here's one that was a live video, 87 comments, a ton of engagement. Here's one here that was my win story from working with Dean and Tony. The first day I got 57 and 20 comments, and Dean is like, "You're so solid." This is weeks ago, almost a year ago. All the wonderful people that comment and come closer in your life. Like, this is the type of stuff that allows you to become an attractive character that's not needy, that's not pushy, that's not markety or spammy, that people love to follow. And they follow because they love you, right? I have people reaching out to me all the frickin' time with messages, PMs, commenting me, tagging me. Just they frickin' love me, and it's not because I'm special. It's because I do these things on a consistent basis, and I get the results. It's not really anything that you can't do. It's just, are you willing to put in the time and do it? So I'm going to teach you how, and you can take that as far as you want to take it. Okay. So if you're ready to have posts go viral, then you ought to be on the masterclass. And I don't love these transitions, but I'll work with that for next time. Okay. So here are your action steps. This is day 5. We've already learned everything you need to get your first mastermind client. I've given you the scripts. I've given you the tools. I've given you the technology. You've worked through your benefit statement. You've got your offer. You've done more in 5 days than a lot of my paid clients do in the first few weeks. So I just want to congratulate you. You've really been working hard. And if you're not 100% caught up yet, today's the day. Get it caught up, because we're not going to have this up for much longer. This challenge is going away. And unless you've upgraded to the $297 offer, which is at marbles.link/297, you're not going to get the recording. So I recommend, if you can do it today and you don't want to pay, fine. I get it. People are in different financial situations. But if you need more time, by all means, grab the whole intro package. It's not going to get any cheaper. We're going to keep adding great stuff to it. So share your first mastermind call agenda. What are you going to do? Hot seats? Is it 7 levels deep? Is it, are you going to do some cool trip or experience? Get creative here. Like, what are you going to do for your first mastermind? There's no limit to what you can create. There's only a limit to your imagination. There's no limit to what you can create. There's only a limit to your imagination if you create a limit on your imagination, right? Whatever you've always wanted to do. You could take people to frickin' space if you really wanted to. I mean, there's nothing you can't do. I promise. I had somebody pitch me on a mastermind where they're going to have Lady Gaga perform the first mastermind in space, or the first performance in space. And they were trying to put that together. I'm like, I don't think they ever pulled it off, but you can dream really big here, guys. Come to the masterclass tomorrow at 10 and 11. And if you're already subscribed on the challenge calendar, as I said, you should have the details. And I'm just going to leave you with this. This is a graphic I stole from my course, which is, the 4 things that matter. This is really it. In this whole game, if you were to take all the fluff out and boil it down to 4 things, it's book 15-minute calls, follow the workflow, iterate your offer, book the clarity calls, follow the script, and enroll clients. And again, we haven't really gone into sales yet, but when you do work with us, we give you, good, better, best. There's good, which is like, here's 10 questions to ask on your next sales call. Then we give you like a really custom script that you can continue to improve. And then you can go scriptless eventually, get the training wheels off, and have even better conversations. So if you can keep it simple and execute on these 4 things daily, you will never have a shortage of clients. And when I give you everything in the masterclass tomorrow with the messaging, you'll never have a shortage of leads either. So you can grow your mastermind or your business to whatever level you want, provided you're willing to be consistent and keep practicing these skills. This is exactly how I've built my 3 7-figure companies plus. It's not magic. It's just math. It's just consistently showing up, getting 1% better every day, taking those baby steps. And 1%, guys, is not 365% after a year. When you compound it instead of add it, and you add up those 1% and they compound on each other, that's 3,778% better. You could be 38 times better than where you are right now in a year. And people don't pay attention to that. They think, if I can't do it now, then what's the point? And they give up. But if you're consistent, you're going to blow everybody away. And depending on where you start, 1% per day could be huge. 1% to Tony Robbins is massive. I mentioned earlier, my friend is a triple threat: sales, copywriting, and entrepreneurship. He went from 0 to 500K a month in a year. I just had lunch with them this week. There are people out here doing it. It's entirely possible for you too, depending on where you're at and where you're looking to go, as long as you're consistent and commit to progress. 1% a day will get you very far. All right, that's it for this challenge. That's day 5. We are doing the masterclass tomorrow at 11. Let me just pull that back up. That's going to be at 11 a.m. Let's grab it back here. Yeah, 11 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll send out the Zoom link. You guys will get registered if you're already registered. And just look out for that. If you do not get the link or you need it, and it's already been like 6 hours from now, please, please, please reach out to us. We'll make sure you get on there. But it should go out to the whole list very shortly, and you don't have to worry about that. We're gonna actually invite everybody from the Make More Marbles family onto this, whether they've been a part of the challenge or not. So really excited to have you there. Excited to blow it out of the water for you. It's going to be on Zoom again, and we'll probably stream it to the Facebook group as well, because despite the fact that I just said it 15 times, people will miss the message in the memo. So if you really don't want to jump on Zoom with us, that's fine. But I would prefer you're on Zoom. It's going to be a better quality experience, and you want to have the audio or visual issues that show up when you stream to Facebook. All right, that's it for now. I'm going to jump in with the VIPs and answer some questions. If you haven't joined the $297 offer, you got 24 hours. Find a way. That's the best we're going to offer ever. Like literally, it's the most stuff you're going to get for the cheapest price ever, ever, ever. So if you're even a little bit on the fence, feel free to reach out to one of our team members. They can answer questions about it and get you set up. All right, guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day 5, and I'll talk to you soon. If you haven't gotten out there and made your market research calls yet, never too late. Get them done. Get your first client. Here we go. Let's rock. All right, guys. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I'll talk to you soon. Stop share. We're going to stop the live stream.